what's trending at the bottom of this hour. Gus Kenworthy, you know his name if you've been watching the Olympics. He took the silver in the ski slope style, part of a USA sweep, but this is why he's getting so much attention. He wants to adopt a group of stray puppies he found in Sochi. We've been telling you about this. They've got a stray dog, lots of stray dogs in Sochi, and the government there had been rounding them up and basically killing them. He didn't like that, and a lot of people haven't liked that, so he's taking matters into his own hand. He's been feeding them, trying to work out a way to bring them back to the States, and I guess the only positive is that the Olympics have brought so much attention to this that now there are rescue shelters there and a lot of awareness trying to save these dogs' lives.
Indeed. A pastor in Kentucky, Jamie Coots, died Saturday night after he was bitten by a snake. Now, Coots was featured in a National Geographic show on serpent handling preachers. Officials say that he died at his home about 10 o'clock on Saturday night after a snake bit him in his hand. He refused medical treatment. Snakes have bitten him about 8 times. This ninth time turned out to be the deadly one. His 19-year-old son says that he'll continue his father's work.
All right, Bob Costas is set to return. That's the first time we've ever been speechless on this show, I do believe. Bob Costas back on the Olympics tonight. NBC says he'll be back after, he was sidelined by that eye infection. It started in his left eye and then it became both eyes. He's been gone for 6 nights. He's hosted the 5 nights of Olympic coverage before the infection. He's missed 6 nights. Matt Lauer and Meredith Vieira filled in for Costas while he was out.
Bronze medal winner Bodie Miller won the Super Gs, the men's Super G in the Sochi Games over the weekend. At 36 years old, he was the oldest alpine medalist in Olympic history to win. Now, Miller dedicated the race and the medal to his younger brother, who died in April. After the race, the Olympian found it a little difficult to hold it together, especially after being interviewed by a reporter. We didn't have that video, but we read some of the scripts and said the reporter just kind of kept asking him about his brother and what do you think and da-da-da. And one last question she asked was, we see you do a routine. You look up to the sky and it looks like you're talking to somebody. Who are you talking to or what's going on? And that's when he just finally just broke.
Kristen Cooper's the reporter's name. I was watching this one happen. We don't have time to get into it now, but go to WJBF.com where we still may not have enough time to get through this entire issue in the 2 minutes that we have. But go there now. We'll continue the conversation during the break. And then, my fellow Americans is what some folks are saying to each other in Atlanta today.
Hundreds of new citizens have been sworn in all across the country. This President's Day is a very special one for some new ones.
Today's high hit 66 degrees. It's going to be a lot warmer than that over the next couple of days at a morning low of 29. No rain, snow, sleet, or ice. Your forecast coming up next.
Say about the preacher with the snake.
What?
You live by the sword. You die by the sword. I mean, I don't think that it doesn't surprise me that someone would die from snake handling or from a snake bite who is a snake handler. Right.
I could take your second quote. The first one, I don't think that kind of relates to the story, but I get what you're saying.
Live by the sword, you die by the sword?
I think that's like live by the sword, like killing people,
no,
then you die by the sword. Yes, it does, George.
No.
Yes, it does.
George, look up live by the sword, die by the sword.
Tell
us what that means.
Send us an email, please.
Right. Anyway, nobody's watching.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. What does that mean?
It means you die by
No, let him, what does that mean? Live by the sword, die by the sword.
I would assume it would.
We're running out of time to talk about Bodie Miller.
It would mean if you live a particular way, you may also meet the same fate.
Thank you, George.
But if you live by the sword, you're killing other people, so expect to die that way.
All right, Bodie
Possibly.
Miller. Let's talk about
George,
Bodie
you're
Miller.
trying to skate the line, George. Be on my side.
Anyway,
Okay.
Watching this last night, the reporter asked him 2 questions about how does it feel to be the oldest medalist. It was fair enough. Then he actually broached the topic of his brother as being inspiration. So her bringing up his brother, I don't have a problem with. 4 consecutive questions. If this was a court of law, she would have been either badgering the witness or leading the witness,
Right.
because it was like you could tell at some point she wasn't going to stop until she got that reaction.
She could probably see it in his eyes.
Well, sure, and he, by the way, he is, by all accounts, used to be sort of a standoffish, aloof guy, has changed a lot in the last year because of what the effect his brother's death has had on him. And he came out in her defense, the reporter's defense last night, said, go easy on her, she's just doing her job. But we do that job, not on that scale, but we do that job. And I think at some point, our job is to report what we are seeing and what's happening, not necessarily create something to report, and I sort of felt like that's what she was doing.
I
last night.
hear what you're saying, but I've also been in those instances where you're talking to somebody about something emotional, and this is sad to say, but you think, okay, this is good television if the emotion comes into this interview.
If they do
And
it
so-
on their own volition.
Sure, but you
Yeah.
continue that conversation with them.
Real quick though, I do want to stick up for NBC a little bit. People are like, why did they air the whole thing? Had they not,
Right.
people would then be saying, well, what are you trying to hide? Why
Yeah.
didn't you air the whole thing?
Good point.
Can't make everybody happy. George's weather's next.